You're listening to the Transform Your Life from the Inside Out podcast. This episode is titled, You Are the Ultimate Power in the Universe. Many people believe they have no power, and they believe that they are primarily physical beings. That's a lie that humanity is sold to you, and it's a lie that keeps you trapped. The truth is, you are, repeat, the truth is, you are the ultimate power in the universe, and you can be, and you can do, and you can have anything you want when you merge with and use the ultimate power that you are, the ultimate power of you. I'm going to dig into that in this episode. And if you'd like to explore the ultimate power of you, keep listening. Hi, I'm Jim Fortin, and you're about to start transforming your life from the inside out with this podcast. I'm widely considered the leader in subconscious transformation, and I've coached super achievers all around the world for over 25 years. Here, you're going to find no rah-rah motivation and no hype, because this podcast is a combination of brain science, transformational psychology, and ancient wisdom all rolled into one to take your life to levels you've never thought possible. If you're wanting a lot more in life, to feel better, to heal, to have peace of mind, to feel powerful and alive, and to bring more abundance and prosperity into your life, then this podcast is for you, because you're going to start learning how to master your mind and evolve your consciousness. And when you do that, anything you want then becomes possible for you. I'm glad you're here. Wow. The ultimate power of you. The ultimate power of the universe. That sounds like a huge and grandiose comment. I mean, doesn't it? I know many years ago, had I heard that, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? These days, I know it to be true. However, even as I speak those words, you are the ultimate power of the universe, many people get into their 3D analytical mind and they start trying to analyze, and they try to start thinking logically about what that means. The comment that you are the ultimate power in the universe. When you, and if you do that, you're actually working deductively in trying to understand it. What that means is, when I say you're working deductively, you're working from your current point of reference, meaning your body, your perceptions, your awareness, your human identity, your human ego, your human personality, all which contribute to a very limited knowing of yourself. And then all of that confirms it's confirmed by your 3D physical experience, and then it all makes sense to you. So you evaluate your entire life based upon your physicality and what that means to you. And when you do that, you accept all the limitations of your physicality, meaning your physical experience. A simple analogy that we could use is the analogy would be you are looking up to the universe from your current perceived 3D reality. Metaphorically, you are looking from you up to the universe, as if you're looking up to the stars. Now, let's reverse that, and let's look at it inductively, from the universe to you, from the stars to you, from God, divine mind, consciousness, divine consciousness, the quantum field, the quantum dimension, to you. When you look at your life from a higher perspective like that, it actually helps you expand your awareness and your understanding of yourself. Because metaphorically, as the physical body, you're simply a speck of dust. If we're actually categorizing you by size, you're simply a speck of dust in the universe. And basically, that's powerless, right? So when you look at your life inductively from higher mind, from God, as if you were standing on Jupiter or standing on Sirius, these planets, and looking back at Earth, you have an expanded perception of where you are in the world, your point of reference, meaning on this planet and in your body, and you have an expanded awareness about the grandioseness of the universe. I have a question for you. What if you were God? Now, hold on to that thought, but the question is, what if you were God? I use the word God to mean many things. I'll explain that in just a moment. But I want to say 4 sentences to you. And when you're in a safe place, write down these 4 sentences, because we'll talk about them a little later in our time together. When I say the word God, I'm not talking about it in a dogmatic Christian way. I'm not talking about that word in terms of organized religion. I'm not talking about it in terms of anything that human beings have created. What I'm really doing is talking about it from the perspective of divine mind. But the reason that I use the word God, and many years ago, because I grew up in a fundamental Baptist church, I used to have a problem with the word God, meaning I automatically tied it to the analytical, dogmatic, organized religion that I grew up in, that I spent many years escaping, which I did once I left for college. So the way that I'm looking at it, the word God is kind of a catch-all word, but more in terms of cosmic perspectiveness, cosmic awareness. And if you want to go to science, we can actually get rid of the word God. Again, we can use the word quantum field, quantum dimension, whatever you want to call it. Even call it the all. Call it whatever you want. But I'm using the word God because we all at least know that however we're classifying it, organizing it, it's the omnipotent and the omniscient. It is all that is, for whatever context we're using that word. But back to the 4 sentences, here we go. And the 4 sentences are, as I'm saying them, after I say the sentence, you ask yourself this question: what if this was true for me? So are you ready? I'm going to say this sentence, and you say to yourself after I speak, you say, what if this was true for me? Here we go. Sentence number 1. I am the power and presence of God. Okay, your turn. What if it were true for me? Next, I am the power of infinite intelligence. Your turn. What if this was true for me? Next sentence. I am the power of consciousness. Your turn. What if this was true for me? Next sentence. I am the ultimate power in the universe. Your turn. What if this were true for me? So, as I asked you just a couple of minutes ago, looking at all of those, what if? Ponder that for just a moment. What if those 4 sentences were true for you? What if you are the intimate power? What if? What if you were the ultimate power in the universe? Now, I don't know. I did a couple of episodes, and when I say I don't know, a couple of episodes ago, I used the metaphor of an ocean and a drop of water from the ocean. And if you listen to that episode, and if not, I'll just recap it. But remember, you can take a dropper, like an eyedropper, and you can take a drop of water, just a little bit of water from the ocean, but that water still has the chemical compounds of the ocean. So you, even in that physical bag of skin that you're in, you came from the ocean of the universe, and you came from consciousness. You came from all that exists, because your body is the same molecular structure that exists in the universe and in many different elements and compounds and different places and structures and planets and, life forms and beings in the universe. You're all the same thing. You're all the same thing. And just like what's in the dropper of water is a reflection of the entirety of the ocean, you and the physical body and your consciousness are a reflection of the entirety of all of cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is God. Therefore, you are God. You're God. If you have a hard time with that, your dogmatic, your indoctrination, your organized religion, your organized thought is getting in the way of that. Because all these things that I talk about existed well before any human created deity, any human created God. Because God is consciousness, and God is the ultimate power in the universe. And you are the ultimate power in the universe. There is no other truth. If the universe was made by God, and you were part of the universe, you are God. And this scares the hell out of a lot of people, and especially people that have been pervasively indoctrinated into being weak and little human beings. And they've been indoctrinated by human-created thought systems. They've been indoctrinated by organized religion. And organized religion is a complete system of control that takes your power away from you. And in this episode, my intention is to help you reclaim your power as the ultimate power in the universe. It may be a bit challenging for you to get your mind around this analytically. But would you say that the universe and all the forces of it, all the forces of the universe, are the ultimate power in the universe? Well, the obvious answer is yes. And you are a reflection of all the forces, therefore the ultimate power in the universe. That is the power that you have. I mean, this ultimate power made Earth, made you, made all the galaxies and the stars and the multiverses and the dogs and the cats and the beings from all over the universe were all made from this ultimate power. You are that power, and what is more powerful than that? Now, let's go back to the dropper from the ocean. As the content of the dropper is the ocean, the content of you, both physical and non-physical, is the universe. And the universe is pure and infinite power. And you can call that power anything that you want, as I was alluding to earlier. You can call it God. You can call it mind. You can call it cosmic consciousness. You can call it the quantum field, the quantum dimension. You can call it Buddha, Brahma, Allah. You can call it whatever you want. But that, the all, that is you contained in that body that you think is you, but it's not you. It's the container of you. And you've been fooled and tricked to believe that you are the container. Okay, I want to segue from the episode for just one moment. It's back. What's back, you might be asking? Well, the classic Be Do Have series. If you're new here, the Be Do Have series is a 3-part live series where you get to interact with me, and I do 3 sessions of live trainings on the concepts of be, do, have. So you're going to get 3 live sessions of trainings with me, and you're going to get several days of free coaching and interaction with me and the group that you're in. The date is, and by the way, if I didn't say it, it is free. And many people have said that's been through it that they would easily pay $1,000 for it. The first date of training is Thursday, June the 27th. When you get registered, all the details will come to you. And in this training, we focus on your human experience, not so much spiritual, though I bring the spiritual energy and we talk about it. But more than anything, we focus on the human you and helping you have a better life there. And the primary areas that we focus on in this training in the 3 days, number 1 is your human identity, who you became, who and how you are, and understanding more about your identity and how you show up in the world. We cover very, very extensively the concept of brain-based habits, how you are your habits and how your habits actually create your life for you, because you don't get what you want in life, you get your habits. We actually also cover subconscious programming, which relative to much of my work is actually connection with divine mind. And then we look at your ways of being, meaning how do you show up? You take who you are, look who you are from an identity level. How do you show up your ways of being? So we're going to deeply explore your human-based identity, your habits, your subconscious programming, and your ways of being. Again, we deep dive. Most people will say that no one is ever taking them as deep as I'm going to take you. Now, as you may or may not know, a lot of my work is spiritual, and we tend to think, oh, if I'm spiritual, I don't need that. Yes, you do, because you are dualistic. You are both physical and non-physical. And in this training, we work on the physical because you live in the physical world, have a physical experience, and you want to have a better physical experience while you are here. So even though a lot of my podcast episodes are esoteric and spiritual, I bring that energy and element into it, but yet we're looking at you from a brain-based, organic, neurological perspective to help you create a better experience of life. Over 250,000 people have been through this program over the last 6 years, and the reviews have been massive. That's why we are bringing it back. And as I said a bit ago, many people have said they would pay $1,000 to go through this training. So to register, go to jimfortin.com/be-do-have. jimfortin.com/be-do-have. So this is what you want to do. Number 1, get registered. Number 2, follow the prompts when you register. It will take you to the dashboard, and all the details you need will be on the dashboard. Show up and participate, because you're going to be working with me, yes, me, live for about a week with the training and everything else that we're doing. So it's an opportunity for you to interact beyond the podcast with me live. Now, a question for you, as if I'm coaching you. If you register and you don't show up and you don't participate, what does that say about your level of self-integrity, your level of commitment, your level of responsibility for changing your life? If you register and don't show up, what that really says is you're living in your old patterns, your old crap, and you're creating the same things over and over and over again in life. And if you're creating the same things because you won't change, guess what? You're going to get more of what you've been getting. So it's time to change. Again, it's free. Go to jimfortin.com/be-do-have, and I will see you on the Be-Do-Have live training. Okay, back to the episode. Let me give you a metaphor here. Let's say that you went to the store and you bought a gallon of milk, and the gallon was in a cardboard waxed box. All the pretty pictures on the outside, but you can't see the milk on the inside. All you can see is the container. And you think, okay, I just bought a gallon of milk. But you open that gallon of milk and you start pouring it out, and the most delicious, expensive red wine in the world comes out. But you didn't know, because you couldn't see it, you didn't know that expensive red wine was in that container that box. The same thing applies to you. The ultimate power of the universe is you, contained in the container that's been tainted, that's been spoiled, that's been indoctrinated by the human experience that we have to work out of and through and beyond. Because you may or you may not have found that that container is suffocating. And it causes all kind of fear and all kind of shame and all kind of self-pity and all kind of suffering in life. And you don't have to experience any of that. Why? Because you're the ultimate power in the universe, period. And until you open and explore that box, that container, you'll never know it. But see, what you've learned to live as I did for many years, is a very weak, powerless, indoctrinated human. I know. You might say, Jim, I'm not weak. I'm not powerless. Well, let me ask you this. You pick. If you're not powerless, then how come you may be challenged or you struggle with love in your life? Maybe you struggle with relationships. Maybe you struggle with health and wellness. Maybe you struggle with the biggie that so many people struggle with, which is actually quite easily. Maybe you struggle with money. So if you really thought you were all that powerful, as I'm talking to you about it, I'm just trying to warn you to stay out of your know-it-all mentality as we tend to do as human beings. Oh, I already know that. But if you're really living from that power, the ultimate power in the universe, would you struggle with any of those things that I talked about? Or would you struggle if you don't struggle with those? Because you could say, what we tend to do is look at something and say, nope, that's not me. But then we're struggling with something else and we don't even recognize it. But let's say you don't struggle with the health, the relationships, and the money. But let's say you struggle with addiction, alcohol, porn. Maybe you struggle with anger and shame. And maybe you struggle with the biggest ones of all, fear and worry. Well, these things belong to your 3D ego. They belong to the container, the ego container, meaning Bob Smith or Susan Smith or whatever your name is. They belong to the container. But here's the thing. Everything was created by the universe, and you are the universe. And as such, being the ultimate power of the universe, you have the ultimate power of the universe at your disposal, yet the universe doesn't tell you how to use the ultimate power. That is up to you because you have free will and you have choice, which is why I've said before, choice is so vital. Life is not a choice. Life is choice. And everything in your life is a reflection of your choice. So you can say, Jim, you're full of shit. I don't believe you at all. I'm going to go back and read my Bible. I'm going to go back and read this or that. And I'm not saying don't read the Bible. There's a lot of wisdom in there when you know how to decipher it. By the way, I've never read it, but I grew up with it. But what I'm telling you is your human 3D ego container, it creates this limited awareness for you and this limited experience of life full of heartache and full of all these things that we experience when we live as human beings. But let's go back to the beach that I talked about earlier. And I said, you're the entirety of the universe. And if you don't have what you want in life, whatever it might be, then you're not even living as that little bitty drop of water or the dropper. You're living metaphorically like a single grain of sand on the beach. Put that into perspective. It's not made to make you feel bad or any of that. It's made, and I created it to give you a metaphor to start thinking about your life in a more powerful way. See, the ultimate power of the universe is consciousness or God, and you are that. But you're also the one who drives, metaphorically speaking, I'm using a whole lot of metaphors in this episode. Metaphorically speaking, you're like a driver of the bus. And that driver of the bus currently in your life is your learned human personality, your learned human identity. It's your past history, your ego, your identity that drives the bus. And nothing will change for you. Nothing. Until we go to a higher level and start thinking that I am the power that drives the bus. I am the mind in the driver that drives the bus. So you drive the bus of your life with the power you have, which is the power of God because you are that. But look at your life. How are you driving your life? I want to keep this episode simple for now, and I'm thinking about adding 2 or 3 more episodes to this. I'm thinking through how I want to deliver them in a way that can make them very easy to understand and very easy for you to start practicing. But for right now, I want to give you the 4 sentences again. These are your transformational takeaways. I am the power and presence of God. I am the power of infinite intelligence. I am the power of consciousness. I am the ultimate power in the universe. You, listening right now to me, you are that. Look at all the shit you get into, as I alluded to earlier. The fear, the worry, the self-pity, the anger. When you do that, you're simply hiding and masking the bigger part of you, the ultimate power in you. And when you release that, anything and everything that your 3D ego wants to experience, your personality wants to experience on this planet, you can. So the 4 sentences that I gave you, write them down. Read them daily. Get quiet with them. Go on a hike. Put them on a piece of paper and read them all through your hike. Be careful on your hike as you're hiking, but have them with you. Put them on a laminate card. Meditate on them and come to better understand, to deeply understand what those sentences mean, the truth behind them, because they are true. When you live from that way, the sentences I gave you, you shift the ways that you're being, because everything is about being. And we simultaneously be different ways on this planet. We live on the planet, so we have to be certain ways to have the best possible experience on the planet. But we can also be the spiritual essence, the power, the ultimate power of the universe. And that's another way of being. And when we be that way first, it makes the other way easier to be on the planet. Either way, you've heard me say before, the old phrase, and actually I own the trademark to it, interestingly enough, be, do, have. You must first be, to do, to have. And if you don't have, it's because you're not doing. And if you're not doing, it's because you're not being. And being is also a matter of shifting your awareness to the things that we're talking about, because that's like the dynamo and the generator. But I say simultaneously, to concretize this, we also have to be in particular ways to understand the physical mechanism, the body, the container of skin that we're in. We have to be in certain ways to also function on the planet. So it's a matter of being both spiritual and mechanical and 3D, and then merging and marrying the two, which is what I'm starting to do now with my programs, is what I call the higher and the lower, so to speak, developing both parts of you and then having them work together in unison. Because together, you're extremely powerful, and then you can live from, because you can't even live from this place I'm talking about if you're trapped only in 3D. If you're trapped in your fear and your worry and your shame, you can't live as the ultimate power in the universe, which you are. So again, your takeaway, write down those sentences, commit them to memory, learn them, and meditate on them each and every day. And as I said, I'm thinking about adding a couple of other episodes to this. We'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if I create a couple of follow-up episodes and dive even deeper into this in the next episode. If you're brand new to the podcast, I suggest you go back to episode number 1 and start listening from there, because each and every episode, even though we're on 300 and something, will bring value to your life in some way that you didn't see, you didn't understand. And I've had many people say, Jim, I've listened to all of the episodes over the last couple of years many, many times. I'm not telling you to do that, but that would be a good option as well. Okay, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you over on another episode. Bye-bye. Okay, so that wraps up this episode. Remember, it's really important. Go to jimfortin.com/be-do-have. jimfortin.com/be-do-have and register for the up-and-coming Be-Do-Have series at the end of the month. Honestly, this is not a marketing ploy. We may or may not do it again. A lot of people have been asking for it. I know we're going to do it this time. We're going to do the full program. But as to whether or not we'll do it again, I do not know. So what I'm saying is if you don't register and you don't show up, you are going to be missing out big time. Don't take my word for it. Get registered, show up, and discover it for yourself.